Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the 4 to 5. I'm Eric Chilton. We are at the Wyndham Championship, and yeah, we found the place to be, Margaritaville. We're going to talk about all the places out here at the Wyndham for the fans, the fan amenities. Maybe if golf isn't your thing, you want to do something on the side, we got you covered. We'll have all that and more coming up.
I could have put money down that Eric Chilton would start at Margaritaville, knowing that guy out there. That's the fun spot to be at. Welcome in studio here. I'm Chad Sober here with Monique Robinson and Lauren Coleman.
Hey everybody, if you're joining us on Facebook, join the chat. We're having a lot of fun here in the studio as well, and we love to hear from you. We want to start things off with one of our top stories. Starting new at 4, we have some new information. The Forsyth County Sheriff's Office says one person is dead after a workplace shooting had happened at Clarios Manufacturing facility in Kernersville around 11:15 last night. Now, we don't know many details right now, but deputies say the suspect and victim knew each other, and this was not random. The facility was closed today. In a statement, Clarios said the suspect was in custody. They also said, quote, "Our sincere condolences go out to our colleagues, families, friends, and co-workers." Clarios is closing, managing the facility, and fully cooperating with authorities.
Junior Olympics competitions resumed today, a day after a large fight broke out, prompting an evacuation at North Carolina A&T. 3 people were injured in the chaos yesterday. At first, people claimed shots were fired, but police say that's not true. Today, coaches, teams, and spectators were back, but still worried after yesterday.
Man, I'm feeling like they just need more security, and so the kids can be sure that they're safe and they can get all the kids into safety in a more calming way instead of chaos, because my kids was warming up for the 100 and all we seen is a crowd of people running towards us, so like we was trapped and it was like there was really nowhere to go.
Police say they have not identified any suspects or made any arrests.
Forsyth County deputies say one person is dead after a fight at an apartment complex. It happened just after midnight this morning at the Woodbriar Apartments in Rural Hall. Deputies found one person dead in the parking lot, another injured inside an apartment. Both had been shot. Deputies are still investigating.
All right, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. First up today, a landing gear issue caused a small plane to crash land at Smith Reynolds Airport in Winston-Salem today. Investigators say a pilot in a Cessna was landing just after noon when they recognized an issue with the landing gear. The main landing gear came down, but the nose gear collapsed. The pilot was the only one on board and was not hurt. Governor Cooper announced millions of dollars today to start a new clean energy workforce training program at North Carolina A&T. It's in partnership with the U.S. Department of Commerce. The program will bring together education and clean energy employers. The $23 million grant comes from the American Rescue Plan. And some sad news from the North Carolina Zoo today. Riley, a 23-year-old African lion, has died. The zoo says he'd been battling renal disease for several years. Staff described Riley as fiercely devoted and a one-of-a-kind soul. Makita is now the only lion at the zoo. Staff say they'll make decisions about future Pride members and a possible mate using recommendations from the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. There's more racing tonight at the North Wilkesboro Speedway, part of the Racetrack Revival Series. Last night was the first race at the historic track in decades, and it was sold out. Races this month will run on the pavement. Dirt races return in October. The track will be repaved next year. And it was so great to see so many people out there at the racetrack. 25 years since there has been a race on that track.
I know there's been a lot of excitement, a lot of people chatting about this online. I've actually never been to that racetrack or been to a NASCAR event, but just seeing the excitement of how, hyped up people get about this, I'm now getting interested to go to a race.
One story that we're working on today too. So Ryan Newman won the big race last night, but there was another race that an 11-year-old boy won. And he beat all of the adults, including his own father.
I heard you all talking about that in the newsroom, and everybody was like, what? So that's pretty exciting. Is that one that we're going to tell tonight?
Yeah, so we're working to interview that 11-year-old boy today to find out what that was like. I mean, think about what it was like for both him and his dad and everybody else racing.
Definitely a proud moment. The dad was probably like, he got me by a hair, but I'm sure he's proud of his son.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to the story before that, the sad story about the African lion at the zoo. I mean, that lion, Riley has been there for a while.
Wow, and I still need to make my way over to the zoo. Lots of things I still need to do. It's been over a year now. I need to make my way there.
Right, absolutely. Monique, how's the weather looking?
I'm trying to avoid that 3-letter H word because I know everyone is saying it. So I'm going to exercise my vocabulary a little bit. It's sweltering. It's sticky. It's spicy. It's just plain old hot. Now, as the temperature is staying in those 90s across the area, seeing a few clouds out there, but the winds are kind of weak, which is making for those temperatures staying in those warm conditions. So you can see 95 is what it feels like in Greensboro, 94 in Winston-Salem, 92 in Burlington. It's certainly a sticky day. Now, the big question when you see this is, okay, why is the temperature and the feels like not the same thing? Why doesn't it feel like 90 degrees? Why does it feel a little bit warmer? When we talk about the dew points, that is describing the amount of moisture in the air. And so when those dew points are at a higher number, it's saying that, well, there's a lot of moisture in the air. And that's what makes it feel sticky or makes it feel warmer than what that temperature reads. Imagine the times you've been to a sauna. You may be in a hot room, but once you get in the sauna, it feels really, really toasty. And so that's the case when you walk outside. We're getting that sauna feel. These dew points reading in the upper 60s across the area, making for a very tropical feel outside. Now, as we move through the weekend, those dew points will climb to near the 70s, and that's when it really will feel like a sauna when you walk outside. So the forecast feels like this is, again, I'm going to just stick with the feels like temperatures because that's what's kind of more important. As we go through the day tomorrow, our feels like temperatures will approach heat advisory criteria. In some locations, even the triple digits. Talking more about that and storm chances for the weekend soon.
The Wyndham tournament is officially underway. The Pro-Am teed off this morning.
It was the first day fans were allowed in, and one of those fans, one of our favorite fans, Eric Chilton, is live out at Sedgefield Country Club, taking it all in today. Hey, Eric.
Yeah, so much going on out here. I mean, this, you know, and it's always, we say this every year, but it's so true and it keeps growing. The fan experience, you don't have to love golf to come out here and have the perfect experience. I want you to know, so Margaritaville's behind me here. We're going to show you more on that Friday. We're going all in there. But I want you to kind of get your bearing here. That's where the Wyndham Rewards Points Paradise is. You can't miss that, right? So just on the other side of that, away from Margaritaville, that's where the fun starts. I want you to look at some of the images that we got for you earlier in the day. The Truist Fan Pavilion is gigantic. This thing is a massive tent. It's on the 9th green. I'll tell you what I like. People laugh at me when I say this, but upscale bathrooms, just saying. Lots of seating. Margaritaville, right, literally, as I showed you, just across the way from that, and that's always fun. They have, of course, the cocktails. The best thing I think about Margaritaville, live music, and it goes on every day, starting today through the end. Then there's also the Tito's Still House, which is on the 9th green. Now that one, that's sponsored by Tito's Vodka, but it's specialty drinks and cocktails. There's even a tournament signature drink called the Wyndham Welcome there. And then we'll wrap things up with just the Sunbrella, big sponsor out here. They've done a comfort zone so you can get some shade with some drinks and snacks. And then they have the wine deck also. That's a separate thing. The comfort zone is on the 12th green. The wine deck is on the 17th fairway. They have wine. Even I've been told they have wine slushies. A little bit of a party, in case you didn't know. That's what's happening at the Wyndham. Of course, this goes on all the way through the weekend. Every year, all of these fan amenities seem to, when I speak to organizers, they always say the same thing. We're looking to expand it every year because you have to admit, it's a social event as much as it is a PGA event. So for the golf lovers, you walk the course. For people that don't love that, you walk the course and make your stop at all of these places. We'll talk more about this coming up. More of the 4 to 5 live from the Wyndham Championship coming up.
Do any of these places sound familiar? St. Matthew's United Methodist Church, Gibsonville Elementary School, New Eastern Guilford High School, and the Corbett Annex Recreation Center at North Carolina A&T? Well, all of them have one thing in common. Sharon Grieber. Check it out.
Recently, I obtained my interior designer's license in the state of North Carolina. I had stayed away from that on purpose because it was hard enough being a black female architect to be accepted as an architect.
Since 1989, Sharon Grieber has been indulged in the nitty-gritty of designing buildings as a registered architect.
I grew up an only kid, so building doll houses out of boxes was my little forte.
Her dad planted seeds of inspiration.
Even though I wanted to pursue a career in a field that wasn't traditionally for women, he never said never.
Grieber says in the 80s it was also an untraditional space for African Americans.
I was the only black female, only black, to get a master's in architecture that year.
As a kid growing up in Greensboro during integration, Grieber says she and her neighbors who were also African American would dream of success.
We used to get together and talk about what we wanted to be when we grew up. And so far that neighborhood has generated a judge, a cardiac surgeon, a radiologist, a general practitioner, and 2 more architects.
Grieber has been the architect behind several buildings across town, like the Gibsonville Elementary Replacement School.
My mom had taught school there, and she retired from there, and she passed in 1998. To be able to come back and do the replacement as part of a joint venture of the Adams Group. Graham Adams was the TA when I was in school at NC State.
A full circle moment for Grieber, from a young girl dreaming to living out her architectural dreams.
You know what's in your heart, you know what's in your spirit. If your spirit's telling you you want to create, you want to draw, you want to help others, go for it.
She is so amazing. She gave me this book that kind of is a review of all the great things she's done over the years. And at the end, she has a quiz, sorry, I can't get my words today, quiz about how to plan your dreams. And I just thought it was so cool because she's helping to inspire others to make sure they're thinking about their future in the way her father and her mother made her do.
You know that
impressive.
you are an accomplished person when there is a book
60
detailing.
pages.
I was gonna say, it's pretty
60-page
thick,
book
too.
detailing your work over the years.
Yes, yes. I don't have a book. I might be like 3 pages or so.
Yeah, how was it being in her presence? Because I
She
was
was
just
so
in
sweet.
awe just listening to her story.
So I will be honest with you guys, that whole interview was actually 30 minutes of her sharing stories of experiences growing up during integration and having to, you know, be involved in that as an African American and the sit-ins and such. She was a part of watching that and observing that as a young kid. And so she kind of broke that down and, you know, traveling and being embraced as a female, one, but then also an African American, because even today, there's only about 40 in America.
Female architects
that are black.
Yes.
Yep, that are black. So, I mean, we're talking a very small margin when there's hundreds of thousands of architects, but that's still less than 1%, and she's a part of that less than 1%. And she came from an era where African Americans weren't expected to do much at all.
Oh, wow.
So I think it was such a profound story. I wish I could tell more, but she was truly amazing.
Definitely an inspiring story, and I hope that there's some young girls and boys out here that are tuning into this story that might be interested in architecture. Like you said, there's not a lot of people, but seeing someone like this that says, go for your dreams, if you like to draw, you can do it.
You can.
Thanks for joining us. We'll be right back.
Can you not see it over my shoulder? Yeah, I'm here. Is it audio interference? I'm right beside Manning. I don't get it. How about now? Is that any better?
The channel, maybe the golf channel?
Oh, well, let's go back this way and see if that cleans it up. Check, check, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we'll just stay here.
It's probably interfering with your channel.
And it may be getting close to that, where all that RF is with the media center.
That's probably what it is.
Okay. Okay, we'll reboot. I tell you what, even the statue of Donald Ross, the golf course architect here, etc., I think he's sweating too. Monique, I'm telling you, we're just cooking out here. Need some relief.
Cooking, it's sweltering, it's juicy. I'm not trying to say that H word. I know I've been trying to avoid it, but you're sending the sweat over here and we're feeling it too. As soon as I step outside on later today, I'm going to be feeling all of that H word like all of you have been feeling. It's going to stay dry tonight though. And for some folks, that's something to look forward to, and others are saying we need the rain to cool us down. Latest look at our radar is completely dry. Now, when I widen this view and we look down to South Carolina, things are getting busy. Look at all this lightning all along the South Carolina coast. That's all due to that sea breeze front. It pushes in about each and every afternoon, especially in the summer, and that helps to produce storms all through the latter part of the day. So for the next 12 hours for us, though, things staying completely dry for the most part. I mean, it looks as though we're going to be dry. Temperatures will fall, but those dew points still riding on up. We talked about them earlier. It makes the air just feel sticky. And in the evening, when those temperatures fall, you really get to feel how sticky it can get across the triad. Now, as we go through the day tomorrow, I do expect for some possible scattered storms across the area, but non-severe storms, just a few of them. Our futurecast showing us here us staying dry through tonight. Again, the triad is located right in the central part of this image here, so just so you can focus your eyes on where to look. That storm activity that you're seeing is well to the west of us and in the South Carolina area, not here in the triad. As we go through the rest of your Wednesday, things staying dry, but Thursday, that's when we get the arrival of the first potential shower or storm, and then that copy and paste on Friday, things getting much busier for the latter part of the day. Now, that full 7 days showing the heat kicking on in through the next couple of days. It's going to be a blazing tomorrow. I already mentioned earlier how those heat indices in the triple digits, making it feel toasty.
Do you ever get caught up thinking and dreaming about the future? Today, Coach Lamont explains why accepting your future is the process to help you reshape your future.
As I reflect over my life, there are many things that I wish I would have done differently. Some things I regret deeply and wish I could go back in time and have a do-over. Have you ever felt this way? The truth is, no matter what mistakes you have made, there is nothing you can do to improve your past. However, you're still breathing and have a great life ahead of you. So even though you can't improve or change your past, you definitely can improve and change your future. Use your past as a playbook to getting it right the next time around. Prevention is the first step to the cure of repeated offenses. Lessons learned are only valuable when you are tested the second time around. It's a brand new day filled with opportunities to begin again. Invest in you and change your future. This is Coach Lamont reminding you to have your best you day. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, you gotta check this out. So some people are willing to shell out big bucks to get their hands on a Choco Taco. Klondike announced they would be discontinuing production of the frozen dessert. So now some people are selling them on eBay. One posting has a box of 24 going for $350, while others are selling individual Choco Tacos with a starting bid of $9.99. There was even one post on eBay for 6 tacos with a price tag of $1,000. Come on, so I asked you on my Facebook page, what treat or meal would you be willing to pay big bucks for if it happened to be discontinued? Juan says McDonald's steak and egg bagel. A couple people did write that. Linda wrote, one of my favorite meals was discontinued, beef taco salad at Taco Bell. I miss it. Leslie says, I do what I already do, learn how to cook it. Ron says White Castle hamburgers. Deborah wrote German chocolate cake ice cream from Baskin Robbins. It was a seasonal ice cream only available during the fall, which was perfect because I used to buy a quart or 2 at a time for my birthday. And then Kimberly wrote nothing, discontinued for a reason. For me, nothing is worth a couple $100s for if it was discontinued, especially not ice cream. I mean, it's never that deep.
Right.
I'm sorry.
So I wouldn't pay like a lot of money for it, but I am a sucker for the McRib.
So are you gonna $9.99 for a McRib? Or?
Maybe $9.99.
Yeah, for one McRib.
That's not like, I mean, the McRib is already like $4.
Okay.
I mean, that's like maybe double the price.
I don't know. You know, I'm a big fan of the Mexican pizza at Taco Bell, and I remember I was devastated when they took it off the menu, but I still would not be on Facebook Marketplace or eBay trying to buy those out. And you know, it ended up coming back like a few months later. So I really feel like this Choco Taco is gonna come back.
Well, and then so let's say you spend $1,000 for a 6-pack. Are you going to eat them, or are you just going to keep them in the freezer because you don't want to eat them?
And just to say you have them.
Right.
And if you think about it, it probably takes you all of 20 seconds to finish that Choco Taco.
Right.
I just don't think it's worth it.
I agree.
I mean, are you gonna, unless you're trying to like keep them to like just have them in the back of your freezer just to say you have them?
I don't know. Preston said, I wouldn't mind spending big bucks on a TV, but not a Choco Taco.
Yeah, not
so
at all. I don't know
we're
about
with
those
you, Preston.
folks. It must be people with a lot of, you know,
Extra money.
extra money.
Extra
for
funny money. Yep.
$150 Choco Taco.
We'll be right back.
Zappa. Hey guys, ice cream, milk, Oreo cookie, something. I don't know what happened with that. You're right.
You are an extrovert, my friend, at heart.
Hey there, mic check. Manning has declared that I'm an extrovert. Breaking news. Breaking news. 1, 2. Good, we switched out mics.
It's like I gotta make a trip. Another trip.
Let's go here, Manning. Okay, how much time till us we're walking to a place?
How long did you give us last time?
Ooh, okay, we'll just go to the corner here. Up in the fan. Hey, welcome back to the 4 to 5. Eric Chilton here live in the Wyndham Championship. We are in the Truist Fan Pavilion, and there's a reason they call it, not just because the fans want to come here and watch golf, but I found the largest fans. That's why you're here, because it is hot, that's for sure. Much more coming up. We're going to talk about all the fan amenities here and let you know what you can do if you need to take a break from the golf action.
Welcome back. As Eric said, thanks for joining us, whether you're watching at home, on air, online, your phone, or maybe even the golf course today.
And Monique has a challenge to herself, and maybe to you too, to find better words to use than hot.
I'm trying, but every time I try not to say it, I end up saying it. So I don't know how to do it.
Sweltering?
Well, let us know in the comments if you have any options for her to use in her next forecast. In the meantime, we're going to get to one of the big stories we are following today. A Kernersville business is closed today as deputies investigate a deadly shooting that occurred there. It happened at Clarios Manufacturing around 11:15 last night. We don't know many details, but deputies say the suspect and the victim knew each other, and this was not random. In a statement, the company said a suspect is in custody and they're cooperating with the investigation. We will keep you updated as we learn more.
AAU Junior Olympic competitions resumed today, a day after a large fight broke out, prompting a massive evacuation from Truist Stadium at North Carolina A&T. 3 people were injured in the chaos. At first, people claimed shots were fired, but officials say a gun did not go off. Today, coaches, teams, and spectators were back. Some say they didn't notice changes at the event.
Today, everything is running a lot more smoothly. Knowing there was an incident yesterday, the way they handled it was very professional. Knowing that there was kids around, I think it was very smart to shut everything down, make sure everybody was safe.
Officials say no suspects have been identified or charged in the fight that led to the evacuation.
We're hearing from the Winston-Salem Police Chief for the first time since announcing her retirement last week. Originally from Detroit, Chief Katrina Thompson says she never planned to be a police officer. As a college student, she says she wanted to go into computer engineering, but soon realized she liked interacting with people more. So after hearing a speech from an ATF agent, she says she focused on criminal justice. She became a police officer with Winston-Salem in 1994 and became chief in 2017.
Winston-Salem was the first agency that contacted me and was basically persistent in me joining. So anyway, I ended up coming on with Winston with the idea that I'll do this for about 3 or 4 years and then I'll get me a real job.
Thompson will retire in December. She said she'd like to be able to stay in law enforcement and has several opportunities she's considering. The city will hire a search firm to find her replacement. The Greensboro Police Department is also looking for a new chief. Brian James retired earlier this summer. Interim Chief Teresa Biffle is running the department while the search is underway.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. The Blind Tiger is opening tonight, holding its first concert since a deadly shooting Sunday morning. A bouncer is accused of shooting and killing a 19-year-old outside of the club. It canceled the show on Sunday night, but is moving forward with tonight's show. Greensboro Safety Review Board is investigating the incident. Previously, that board shut down, then allowed the club to reopen when changes were made. Kansas voters overwhelmingly rejected an effort to eliminate the state's abortion protections. 59% of them supported keeping those rights in the state constitution. A 2019 ruling by the Kansas Supreme Court called abortion a fundamental right under the state's Bill of Rights. It was the first time voters had a direct say on the issue since Roe v. Wade was overturned. Here in North Carolina, abortion is still legal up to viability, normally around 23 weeks. Republicans want to see a 20-week ban put back on the books. It was previously overruled by a judge citing Roe v. Wade protections. Last week, Republicans filed a request in federal court for the ban to be reinstated. Democratic Attorney General Josh Stein said he would not file any injunctions to enforce the ban. New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand is calling on the Biden administration to invoke the Defense Production Act to increase access to monkeypox vaccine. New data shows the number of new cases is doubling about every week. The Biden administration is distributing more than 1 million doses of the vaccine, but demand is greater than the supply.
At this point, it's been the states declaring public health emergencies related to monkeypox. There hasn't been a federal declaration. Our Verified team found out what that type of declaration could do to stop the virus.
San Francisco, New York City, and New York State have all issued emergency declarations in response to monkeypox as they try to contain local outbreaks. And there are reports that the Biden administration may issue what's called a public health emergency declaration at the federal level. So, what would that do? Let's verify. We spoke with James Hodge, a health lab professor from Arizona State University, Megan McGinty, an epidemic and disaster response expert from Johns Hopkins University, and we looked at information from the Administration for Strategic Preparedness and Response. A public health emergency declaration is made by the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Xavier Becerra in this case.
It would allow HHS to instantaneously do some things that it can't presently do quickly.
It enables Becerra to hire people, make grants, enter contracts, waive certain requirements, and access additional funds.
Usually during emergency declarations, like with opioids or things we've seen in the past, there actually would be a freestanding fund ready to be used for devoting to these purposes. We've been working to refill that fund post-COVID, and to my knowledge to date, it's not yet been refilled. In fact, Congress has been reticent to do it. Now, monkeypox may change its mind very quickly, but the sheer fact is the funds that normally would be there to the tune of millions of dollars simply may not be at this point in time.
It can also allow states and local jurisdictions to purchase general supplies at reduced cost. McGinty says there's also a symbolic value.
The act of making an emergency declaration calls attention to a problem and says this is of significance that we as a country need to be paying attention to this.
With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov.
Alrighty then, today hasn't been too busy when we talk about the radar. This is a time-lapse view at Truist Field. That beautiful sunrise, nice blue skies, few clouds coming in the afternoon. Very similar story as compared to yesterday, but none of those clouds are producing rainfall and not expecting for them to do so as we continue through the evening. 90s across the board, 93 in Siler City, 88 in Mount Airy, 86 in Wilkesboro. The thing about it, as you get towards the mountains, the elevation increases, and as you go up, the air temperature gets a little bit cooler, and so that's why we're seeing a few degrees cooler as we move west. But here in the central Piedmont, we're all feeling the 90s, and as I mentioned in our 4 p.m. hour, mixing in those dew points, it feels like 94 and 95. So here's what you need to know as we go over the next couple of days. We could reach heat advisory criteria tomorrow. So what does that mean? Well, some folks could feel more like 100 to 104. Now, heat advisory criteria starts at 105. So, I mean, although a heat advisory may not be issued tomorrow, taking frequent breaks, finding a fan, finding AC, drinking water, strongly encouraged. Don't wait for an advisory or warning to take heed to warning. You know it's going to be hot already. Just take heed to what we're telling you to do, and that's to find cool spaces. As we go through the weekend, though, those storm chances will increase, and that will actually help to make it a few degrees cooler. And that's only because there's going to be more clouds around. The clouds act like a blanket to the sky. Imagine if you just put a blanket over your head and you were no longer able to see the sunlight. That's what happens when the clouds are out. They're blocking the sun from doing its magic and heating up the air. So therefore, we're going to just be a few degrees cooler for your Friday and your Saturday and through the weekend. You can see those temperatures falling down into those upper 80s.
This right here is what you want on your to-do list on the weekend, right? Nothing, nothing, and nothing, yay! But all too often, there are chores that get added to the list. Yes, and I heard her sigh, yes. Outdoor summer chores, got favorites? Got least favorites?
Well, I live in an apartment, so I don't have to do any of the washing the sides of the home or anything like that. What
My
about you?
least favorite when I was a kid was mowing the lawn in the summer because it was just so hot. And we didn't have a riding lawnmower. I mean, it was
You
the
were
push.
pushing it.
Absolutely.
All right, so the gutter cleaning is next on our list, but that chore always makes me really nervous, right? Because you got to climb the ladder. My husband tells me, "Oh, don't worry about it, I got it." And I'm like, I worry. Let me show you why I worry, friends, okay? Last year, there were 137,000 ER visits associated with ladders. You probably don't use a ladder every week or even every month, so you really do need to check it before you use it for any kind of loose parts before you start climbing.
Set your ladder on level ground with the base 12 inches away from the wall for every 4 feet that the ladder reaches. The ladder should also extend 3 feet past your roof or workspace.
While we're on the safety subject, lawnmowers accounted for an estimated 70,000 injuries last year. Now, part of the reason, rocks, sticks, or toys that turn into projectiles. And then there are issues with riding lawnmowers.
Be careful when using a riding mower over uneven terrain. Many people are killed by the mower tipping over onto the driver. So unlike hand mowers, riding mowers should always move up and down slopes, not across, and never allow a child to ride with you.
Yeah, actually, I got to tell you, the common scene is the child on the grandparents' thing on their lap while they're doing the lawnmower thing. I can't tell you how many stories I've done here.
Oh, wow.
When a child has been hurt because they were riding on the lawnmower with their grandparents or their parents.
That's good to know. I was just talking to a friend that was saying that they had their child riding on one with them.
It's a really common thing. It's kind of like, oh, come out here and
fun,
we'll do this together.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, it only goes like 2 to 5 miles an hour, but stuff like that happens.
It's, have you seen those, the ones, like the stand-up lawnmowers? Those are kind of wild, right? I mean, you're basically on a robot, right? Like doing around.
Did you say you mowed the lawn just once?
Just one time. So I wanted to make some extra cash. So my dad was like, okay, you can mow the lawn. But I will say he had to help me a lot along the way. That thing it's hard to move.
It is hard to move.
I should have learned, and I should have just like mowed very poorly, so then I wouldn't be asked to do it again, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the key right there. All right, be safe out there, folks. We'll see you in just a minute.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a problem.
Hey there, mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4. Manning is running back with the tripod. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Actually,
It's my turn.
got back a light.
All right, I'm guessing my mic check's coming up soon. Hang on.
It's caught in your hair somewhere.
Hi, mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check.
Wyndham Week is here and golf is underway. Today was the Pro-Am.
That's Kernersville native and country singer Chris Lane. He was on the course today. He also took time to sign autographs and take pictures with fans. He'll play a charity concert tonight at Piedmont Hall, raising money for Brenner Children's Hospital and Cone Health. Now the Pro-Am really starts all the fun at Sedgefield Country Club.
And Eric is live getting a feel for this year's championship.
So much fun. Yeah, you know, Chris Lane was actually a former guest on the Good Morning Show too, so good for him. He's achieved a lot of success. Now, we've been talking about this for the entire 4 to 5, that there's a lot of fun going on out here. I want you to take a look at some of the pictures we took a little earlier. If you're wandering around the course, and by the way, it's all over the place, right? When we see the Truist Fan Pavilion, I mean, that's right at the 9th green. It's kind of when you first arrive, it's kind of the center of everything. That's a huge tent with giant fans and lots of seating there. Margaritaville is always a favorite. Live music. They just took a break behind us, but this live music goes pretty much all day, starting tomorrow and through the rest of this and tonight. The Sunbrella Comfort Zone, which is on the 12th green, a lot of shade there, drinks and snacks. The Sunbrella Wine Deck with all various wines there, and even wine slushies and snacks. That's on the 17th fairway. And on the 9th green is the Tito's Stillhouse, specialty drinks there and cocktails. I know we're talking a lot about refreshments, aren't we? There's even a signature drink there called the Wyndham Welcome. There's a lot going on, and there are some people that get caught up in that and forget there's a golf tournament. Listen to these guys.
You know, I watch golf on TV all the time. Our friend called him yesterday. He invited us to come out, see what it's all about. I say we've spent as much time in here as we have on the course.
Probably more.
Yeah, and by the way, they were at Margaritaville, in case you're wondering, which is right behind us with music going on right now. A lot of fun out here, but you know, there's also a lot of history, and I can actually see Amanda Ferguson. She's behind us right now to talk a little bit about that.
Hey, yeah, we have a little bit of different view over here. We got some golfers straggling along behind me here. But as for the course here, this is a little bit unique this year. They're going to be honoring a former golfer here. He's no longer with us, but he was a huge impact on this PGA Tour. His name is Charlie Sifford. He was a pioneer on the PGA Tour. In 1961, he accepted an invitation to play in the then Greater Greensboro Open, becoming the first African American to play in a tour event in the Old South. Sifford also became the first black golfer to be inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame in 2004. He would have been 100 this year. The PGA Tour is honoring him at each tournament by having a commemorative pin flag on the second hole during each tour stop, including here at Sedgefield Country Club. Wyndham Championship Tournament Director tells us what it means to participate in this.
Really excited because obviously he has some great ties to this event playing here. And so it will be special. People may kind of scratch their heads when they see the yellow pin flag on the other 17 holes and a white one on the second hole, but that's what that's all about.
Sifford made 10 appearances here at the Wyndham Championship. He's honored with a plaque on the tournament's Wall of Champions. He passed away 7 years ago, but it's really cool to see that the tour is honoring him in this way, and that's happening right here in Greensboro. We will hear from this year's golfers coming up in Sports at 6.
All right, Amanda, thank you. Here's the schedule for the rest of Wyndham week. Round 1 gets underway tomorrow. The first group tees off at 6:50 a.m. The final group around 2:15 p.m. It's a similar schedule for round 2 on Friday. Round 3 and the final round are Saturday and Sunday. Both will be on WFNY from 3 to 6 p.m.
And if you're heading to Sedgefield this week, all tickets are mobile, so you will need them on your phone. There are 2 parking lots with shuttles, one at the Greensboro Coliseum, the other at GTCC's Jamestown campus. If you take an Uber or a Lyft, you will be dropped off at the tournament's main entrance.
I gotta make my way out there. I was just asking Chad, do we have any more press passes?
So were you here last year at this time?
I was here last year at this time because you were out there doing live shots at Margaritaville. That was another big attraction. I remember it rained last year as well.
One thing that Eric has been touching on while he's been out there that I think is so important to know is you don't have to be a fan of golf to go out there. It really is a fun social time. I mean, you've got all these different places you can check out, and it's just fun to be able to walk the course and kind of see what it's like, because you see it on TV all the time, especially on News 2 on the weekends, but to actually be there in person is neat.
And it's just a beautiful environment. I was looking when the director was speaking in Amanda's story just how beautiful the green was behind him. So you got the sun, you got your drinks, you got, a beautiful scenery. It just seems like a great place to be.
You just make sure you bring one of those little misters.
Yes.
Like the fan
Especially
with the
if you're going to be at the Tito's area in Margaritaville. Stay hydrated and you're going to want to
Absolutely,
cool off.
yeah. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Check out this bizarre theft. The Dare County Sheriff's Office says someone stole a historic sign at the Outer Banks. This is the sign that's now missing. It greets people driving into the north end of Avon.
The 6-foot by 4-foot sign went missing Sunday. The sheriff's office says whoever took it knew what they were doing. They removed the sign that was bolted to posts, but the posts were left behind. Law enforcement is asking anyone who sees a sign or knows what happened to give them a call. I kind of feel like a college student is doing this as a prank. Did you guys ever have
Those
stuff
darn
like
kids?
Yeah. Because why else would you want to steal this sign?
Right, to say you did it, but then also hang it in your garage, right? And think about all the people who have stolen signs hanging all over the place.
You know, now that I think about it, in college I have been in spaces, not in my place, but in spaces and in rooms where I've seen some stop signs.
Same.
I've seen some.
Right.
I don't actually understand the fascination in that.
So my first year when I was at UVA, they had the little, what are the things that go down to block your car?
Oh, like when you're parking?
Through?
I don't know
A lot
what
of
they're
people would
called.
drive through those things, and I remember the boys' floor, because I lived in a co-ed dorm. On the first floor, there was guys that they would collect those. And they would be like, oh, I got
The whole thing?
Really?
Yeah, they were like, I got
They're
the
like
thing. And
long.
people were like, yeah, and that's what made me think maybe a college kid did this, because people are, they're
yeah.
fascinated by
Just remember, you're only as
Stuff
good
like
as the
that.
company you keep.
Yeah, that is very true. Are you trying to start doing U Day? Or
I should. I could do a U Day.
yeah.
Chad's Day.
Chad Day.
Every day is Chad's Day.
Let's move on.
Well, today is a hot day, and I've been trying not to say the word, but I just keep on saying it. Hot and toasty is what it is. And as we go through this weekend, it seems as though temperatures will get cooler, but it's really all just the same. It's going to be warm and humid, but storm chances increase. You see that for your Saturday and your Sunday. I just want to focus in on the weekend because I know a lot of folks are just always trying to prepare for the weekend, looking ahead to see what can I do this weekend. Now, the main story for storms are really going to be in the afternoon. It's not going to be an all-day affair, but also they're scattered. So when we say scattered storms, we use that word freely, and some folks get wet, some folks stay dry. That's going to be the story this weekend, but we're just expecting more of those pop-ups across the area. Now, one thing I also want to talk about is the tropics, because we really have been ignoring them, really, because there's not much happening. But I believe as we approach the month of September, things could get busier across the tropics. I mean, we've been so quiet for such a long time now, as a much different picture as last year and the year before. But as we go through the month of August and September, things could ramp up. So just want to point that out, because we still are in hurricane season. Even though nothing's happening, doesn't mean the season just all of a sudden ends. That official date ends on November 30th. Here's a look at your full 7-day temperatures, even hotter tomorrow as compared to today. And through the weekend, we're just getting slightly cooler. But like I said, that's due to those rain chances increasing. And next week, oh, we're warming back up.
One, two, three. I'm the Queen LC.
Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3.
Yo.
Hi, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico.
Hey, when am I at touch? Who's before me?
Mic check 1 2. I hope everyone is seeing that I'm having to stand on a box to take a photo of Avery.
Hi, mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, mic check. You still have my, okay.
Yes, 1098-765-4321, 1098-765-4321.
$13, $14, $15, $16, $17. That's weird.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah, I'm talking. Hello, hello. Check, check. Oh, check.
It's time for my 2 cents. Many of us can agree to say that we live in a microwave culture. We want things done fast and quickly. That's why we have fast food restaurants, frozen TV dinners, and next day delivery. The ability to get the things we want in the snap of a finger, or maybe even the click of a button, is great. But it does come with some drawbacks. It can lead to impatience and even a lack of respect. In today's climate of short staffing and employee burnout, it is imperative that we practice patience and grace. I've seen this firsthand dining at some of my favorite restaurants. A customer causing a scene because a waiter forgot to give them a refill, or maybe the preparation of their meal took a little longer than expected. Yes, if you're paying for a service, you expect to get quality attention and care. At the same time, there may have only been a handful of workers that day. It may have been that worker's 15th hour on the job, working overtime due to the restaurant's lack of staffing. Lashing out on them or giving them a bad tip is not the answer. Honking your horn repeatedly in a slow-moving drive-through line is not the answer. The next time you don't get something you want right away, take a moment to think about why that may be. You never know what pressure someone else may be under. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFNY News 2 at 5 starts now.
We begin tonight with a deadly workplace shooting in Forsyth County. It happened last night at Clarios Manufacturing in Kernersville.
Right now, the site is closed. WFNY News 2